So we are the G team because Giuseppe's just so cool. We couldn't think of any other name but just name after Giuseppe. So we got together. This is our team. These two have been missing for like 2 weeks, but they've come back into our team today, and they're going to help out with the presentation with a bit of rap and tune stuff. All right. So we all sat down together and we thought, what do we want to do with this Alexa challenge? And why would we use voice recognition or voice software? So we trawled the internet looking for data sources. We looked at NASA. We looked at UK data sources. We looked at your health API. All of this was really interesting. We found quite a few different ones. But we found one with the police. The police actually had a very good API, which was easy to use and kind of sparked off a bit of imagination on our side on how to use it. So this is what our objective was. We sat down and we thought, I'm going to read this out because I think this is quite catchy. To promote informed location decision making by helping to identify location crime statistics. And we've got a nice graph here.
Wait, they can't see.
Oh, it's oh, that was supposed to be really slick.
My one-liner.
The best is the next one.
But keep it.
Should I keep it?
No, if you go to the next one, then by the time you're ready, it might.
Exactly.
It might
That's
have
exactly. That'll be smart. Yeah. So
Cool, my one-liner. So basically, the graph shows a comparison between last year's and this year's crime rate, and as you can tell, it's increased quite dramatically since last year to this year.
Where is this?
This is UK.
The whole
UK.
of UK.
Yeah.
So
UK.
against the, I didn't see, was it against a different type of crime?
So it was
Each one is a different category.
one was year from 14 to 15, 2014 to 2015.
Yeah.
And then the next one was 2015 to
Sure, but there were multiple.
Yes,
bars,
yeah.
so that's a
The
different
different
category.
crimes,
Of
yes.
So we're basing this application on increment one. I say increment one because we didn't have time to build a full-scale application. But our increment one is for a potential user to understand if he wants to relocate to a particular location, what the kind of statistics are. If you what?
Sheffield?
Sheffield, Luton, Croydon. We'll have a couple of stats come up. But it's really to understand what the type of crime is in that area. So would you send your child to a school in an area where there's high crime rate? So maybe not. But for this to work, we thought, okay, you've got the Echo Dot and it's in your house and it's in your home. But we were thinking more the mobile version of Alexa, where it's like Siri, it's on your phone. And when you're in an area or near an area, you could get the information, the crime stats about that area. So that was the concept of increment. Okay, so we'll go into the demonstration. Himanki's going to do a quick demonstration with a couple of different towns and cities. So do you want to go from that?
You want to wait?
Oh,
The one with red.
yeah. Sorry, I've moved on.
Are you gonna show something in your screen or is it?
No,
Without
it's just a voice.
using close up.
It's example.
Can I ask a question? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can't ask it.
You can copy.
I was just trying to save time.
Alexa, open crime rates.
Welcome to Crime Rates. Say the name of a city within the UK to know how safe it is.
How safe is Cardiff?
For city, Cardiff number of burglaries happened in the area is 41. Number of antisocial incidents took place in the area is 325. Number of other theft reported is 113.
Just the pretty
Alexa, open crime rates.
Welcome to Crime Rates. Say the name of a city within the UK to know how safe it is.
Luton.
Oh,
Alexa, open crime rates.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I couldn't find open
That's
crime
fine.
rate in the UK.
So
Please try again.
you can actually go into towns as well, but we have problems with pronunciation, so it doesn't quite work right. And that's not us. I think that's Alexa. Alexa's not very good because we said Hammersmith and it did Amersham, and then we tried Amersham and it did something else.
So he's not my Spanish
It's not just
accent.
you.
And we all tried it, so it's a bit dodgy.
Yeah, I tried it.
Because of the accents we got.
Yeah.
Hammersmith was hummus bread for me, so.
What was it? What was it?
Hummus bread. Hammersmith hummus bread.
Okay, so that's the and then we've got the architecture, which the guys can talk about.
Yes.
Amanti.
So I think I was going to talk about the architecture, but we'll probably let it load since it'd be better to see it visually. So the idea was that, so Hemanti was the minion in this use case.
No.
She did all the hard
No
work.
offense. So when she obviously triggered the skills app, by telling Alexa to open crime rates, which is the skills app, it then passes that request, obviously, which is sent to the Lambda function that we obviously contains our code base, and then with that code base, it actually goes to the Google Maps API, where, so for example, she said, Alexa, open crime rates, and then it asked, give us a location to check how safe the area is, and then she said Cardiff. So the Google Maps API will take that Cardiff and actually pass back the coordinates back to the Lambda function, which then calls the police API, which takes in those coordinates, and then it actually sends back the response with the data of the number of burglaries in that area and all the different sort of crimes in that area, and it sends it back as a response to the Amazon Echo in our case, and then you can hear it obviously through the response.
Police API returns live.
So it just sends the data of the numbers, like the amount of burglaries in that area.
But is that updated on a regular basis?
Yeah, I think it's monthly at the moment.
Okay.
So it's within
if
the
I go downstairs and steal someone's handbag,
we have to report you and get you caught first.
let's try it.
It's monthly updated.
Then they can use the other Alexa app to find out where I am in prison.
Yeah, it goes from 180 to 181 when you roll something else.
I've got another slide as well. Okay, so that was increment 1, but we had a vision for this. So the vision is that I'll let it come. I'll let it come. But we could possibly connect to different cloud information sources. So when we were looking for data to work on with this, we found NASA, we found Public API, there's Health API, there's quite a few different ones. So we had a vision that, okay, you could start off with the Police API, but then you could start pulling in other data sources. So we said there's monthly refresh. But we could possibly store that information every month. So you start to build up historical data. So that's API, that's Police API. But then if you have National Offenders Database, which we're an MOJ, so we work with that. I know it's a private database, but if you did it for something like the police force, then we could use that data and you could pull that information into your central repository. Essentially, you have a data warehouse from all these public sector, all these public APIs, and if you have permission to use the private APIs in certain cases. So getting all CSI on you, my slide's not coming up, but getting all CSI on you, we had an example where, remember, we're not using Echo Dot, we're using the phone, so the actual app on the phone. So if I was a detective and I went to a crime scene, I could quickly understand the nature of the environment they're in. For example, Alexa, has there been incidents of violent crime in this area? Alexa lists the types of crime. Then if we're connected to the National Offenders Database, Alexa, which criminals are associated with GBH? So GBH, it would say criminals A, B, C are associated with this in the local area. So that could give, that's a scenario, that could give you something to narrow down your investigation on. Right, slightly contrived, but then you would have other data sources, that's only 1 or 2, but then you could plug it into the other things available. Another scenario would be ambulance crews. Maybe this happens more in America because they're a bit more dodged, but if you went to a certain area, would ambulance crews be safe by themselves? Would they need assistance from the police? So, this information that we could use, maybe if they went to a certain area like Ealing or Hammersmith, they could maybe have a police escort because the stats and the information says that this is a high crime area, you're not safe to go by yourself. It still hasn't refreshed.
No.
Alright, sorry. I'll go to the next one then. Right, so that was that. So the idea of this is that we create insights. Connecting to different data sources on the web, public and private, and we store it in the cloud, in Amazon, and you're building up that historical information. At this point, once you've got enough, once you've got your core base, you can start creating insights. So there's something called factoids and indicators. Facts are like facts, how many, like your stats that you're getting now, like how much crime has taken place. Indicators are something like is there likelihood of crime going to happen to me in the next time I visit? It's a probability. So you gather all this information, you store it into a data warehouse, and then you can build these insights. And the idea is you build enough insights that would be relevant to national services, police, ambulance, fire brigade, armed services. So you've got all of these sets of insights, and then you go to them and say, look, we've got these insights, we've collected data, we've put it into a data warehouse. Would it be useful for you? And Ravantha could go sell it for $1 million or something. So that was our objective. That's the end objective. So gather the information, create insights, and it's all about data. Amazon is a way to get there. The Amazon services and Alexa is a way to get there, but you can present it in different forms. So that's us.
As a person who moved from one country to another and then from one location to another, it's quite good. For instance, the challenge which I had with my husband moving to UK to find out the region where we'll move. Of course, we had an offer based on Northampton. We needed to find out which area of Northampton, if they have schools, the Ofsted reports, crime, as you mentioned, and also nurseries and this stuff. When we moved from Northampton to London, it was the same challenge again to find nursery, to find the Ofsted of the school, prices for rent, to find the GP, the reviews and crime statistics. And I think people are moving because the future is not being on one location, moving the job and so on. People will be interesting to have a system where they can pay some money and having just asking a statistic about, for instance, Cardiff, because has an offer there, and what's the rates, which region, what's about the Ofsted reports of the schools. We can find this information, having the data very house.
I mean, there's different
rates for houses to rent, rates, how much will be a house to buy, and so on.
Yeah.
And
absolutely, it's like for Christina, she was worried about travelling home at night from a location. So she could possibly use this stat to say, oh, it's this location is a bit dodgy, I wouldn't go here at night. But if it's London, then you probably wouldn't go anywhere because it's quite dodgy anyway. But yeah, so you've got rich forms of communication, and I think the key to Alexa is finding or understanding why you would use voice. And this has come up from Ravantha a couple of times in the different presentations. Why would you use voice over the computer or a screen or email? And I think to use Alexa, that's the key thing. But we're not focusing. So a part of that was to focus on Alexa, but I think the main message here is there's a lot of data APIs out there. Can we collect it? Can we put that into a data warehouse? Can we create insights that are valuable to other people?
And it's
I've just got a question around performance, because obviously with the example you've got, it's going to Google, getting the coordinates from Google, then coming back, going to the police system, then coming back to Lambda, and then going out to you. So there's a potential for a bit of lag in performance. Would you see that being improved if you?
Yeah. So that's the historical thing we're talking. So that's increment 1. Increment 2 is you get all of this information, you update it, you start to build up the historical set. So you're not going to these places. So when people ask about a previous month, then it's all cached, and you can get the information out of the cache, rather than going to this. But that's building up your data warehouse. Actually, British Airways, they did something similar. They had a data repository. You have all your operational systems, and they just plugged in a copy of the data into like a format that's rich in data, and they could query it. They shoved that all into their data warehouse, and they create insights of that. And what they also did was they used external business operational intelligence businesses. There's one called Opera. They would use Opera. They would send the data to Opera and say, look, you've got all of this data. Make something interesting for us. Make some insight. They wouldn't tell them what insight. They would just hand them over the data. That company would create operational insights like return customers. Would they prefer to be upgraded? Examples like that. I can't think off the top of my head, but that's how that.
What Opera does is now the other day in the presentation in the last meet that we have, what the people is doing now is actually organizing hackathons to work with data. So they actually start from different data sets. For example, open data. There was one for Camden Council last week, and Ken did the other. And it's like, as you say, instead of starting from the idea and then go to data, they start from the data sets,
and then work
and the people get together. They start seeing the data. Data experts, developers, and you actually come from potential insights, as you say. How can an organization can benefit for all the data they have?
Yeah, and that's what you're selling. You're selling the insights because that's what's valuable to the businesses, because that's how they increase their sales and get the return on investments and things. So
you could also extend that story by, which is if you're in a new place, new town, for a week's worth of work or whatever, and you need to know which is the safest way from getting from point A to point B.
Yeah.
You could just look up the police API to see where crimes have been, and maybe you could suggest a route which is less risky.
You can, it just expands out. So once you've got your core data, then like the insights, the ideas, you just build on top of that.
It's a really good idea.
The other thing, when you were having a look to the police API, does the police API allow us to report a crime through an API?
No, I don't think so. No, it was just stats. It was just providing public. So it wasn't anything private. It was just
reading.
It's just reading data.
Because that could use, because I don't know, sometimes it's difficult to get the phone call.
I don't know. I'm thinking.
No, but if you are in danger, you are in danger. Someone is actually pointing, or you see someone that's coming with a knife, something like that. You don't have to take the phone. You have to say, Alexa, someone is trying to kill me.
Just run.
And if they allow for APIs, it'd be a quick way to actually report the crime. So maybe, or if you're having a heart attack, or you're having something a problem, and you don't have time to get your phone. The voice is always quick and critical.
But you could connect it to your Fitbit watch. So if your heartbeat stops, it sends your location to your phone, and they send a police and ambulance out to you.
Yeah, but
So
you'll
thinking,
not be able
Alexa,
to
you're having a heart attack, and you're going, Alexa, I'm having a heart attack, and it's going, I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
You're having a heart attack.
I think it could be a quick way to, if they would have APIs to report crimes or things like that, it would be a quick way to report things. Voice-based.
Yeah, really.